G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole, where on today's episode, OP accuses his daughter's mother of making him out to be a deadbeat because he wasn't there his entire daughter's life. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Am I the arsehole for accusing my daughter's mother of making me a deadbeat? So I, 44 male, am fairly well off. I'm high up in the company where I work, and money is no problem for my wife, 33 female, and our 2 kids. When I was 17, I wasn't the type of person that you'd want to be a father. My own father was a terrifying presence. I almost flunked high school. My high school girlfriend Sophia left me after I got held by the cops one night, and in a double whammy, she moved to Scotland with her dad for university in Edinburgh. Sophia was pregnant and never told me. She never kept in touch. I wasn't looking her up in Scotland. I feel like I had a right to know. Ironically, her leaving made me get my life together, and I did very well in university. Sometime when we were 18, she gave birth to my daughter, Inessa. Well, Inessa knew who I was, and so she decided to contact me, telling me I was her father. Sophia and Inessa had moved back to the country, different city, and I flew out to meet her. I saw a picture of her after she contacted me. She looks just like her mother, so no need for a DNA test. I avoided seeing her mum, and I spent all the time I could with her, getting to know her and learning all that I'd missed. Here's the kicker. I gave my kids the best life possible, but she struggled her entire life. After Sophia's dad died, they had a bad time in Scotland, and even briefly moved with her mum to Russia. They are doing good now because my Inessa's got a great job in the same field that I started out in. It made me mad. I could have provided for her. She could have gone to the fancy schools that my kids go to. She could have gotten new shoes, clothes, games every birthday and Christmas. She didn't even have her father to teach her how to drive. I didn't even pay child support. It makes me upset that I didn't do right by her. When I met her mum again, it was tense. I laid out everything I wrote in a calm manner, and my daughter made me leave as her mother was going to cry. I met Inessa the day after when I left, and we've talked every night since, but we haven't brought that up. My wife told me that I was an asshole to tell her mother that, and demanded I apologize, but I couldn't help but feeling like I wasn't wrong. However, a few days ago, my wife told me she's pregnant, and she talked to me about the situation in terms of what if I passed before my child was born, and since then, I felt like a major asshole because Sophia did a much better job with Inessa than other single parents that I knew like my own father. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I blamed my daughter's mother for me not being a presence in her life and why they struggled. My wife claimed that I was wrong, and now I feel terrible about what I said. And now in the comments, I might get downvotes, but you're the asshole. Think about her perspective. By your own admission, you said that you weren't the type of person someone would want to be a father. You were failing school and being held by cops. She was young, pregnant, and most likely scared of her future. It took her leaving to get you to decide to get your life on track. I know being told that you had a daughter was a shock, but would you really have provided for her being a teen dad? Apologize to them and just make the most of what you have. You now have the opportunity to spend time with your daughter. If you keep harping on the past, then you will hurt your daughter. Agree. He's in a better state now to raise kids, but he was not at the time he was a new father, or probably for many years afterwards. He needs to acknowledge that to her mother and apologize. This is so whack. He deserved to know he had a kid out there regardless of whether he was a perfect parent. This is tough, and while I empathize with your situation, I think you're the asshole. You are focusing on your rights and what happened in the past, instead of how to build a relationship with your child going forward. Fighting with her mother over what she should have done when she herself was a child is not going to make things better for Inessa or anyone. Not the asshole. She kept your child from you. What the hell is wrong with these comments? She intentionally kept your child from you. Years of their life you'll never get back that you never got to see. I'd be raging at that mum. She's cruel. Info. Did Sophia have a reason to believe that you were dangerous? OP replies, not me, but around our neighborhood my father was always kind of a boogeyman. He wasn't conventionally powerful or anything, but he was cruel, kept bad company, was abusive to me, and always made Sophia feel uncomfortable. I think me getting held by the police kind of said to her that I would be no better than he was. Why would she have any impetus to ever tell you if all signs indicated that you were going to be exactly like your father? She probably felt it was safer never to talk to you than deal with whatever version of you turning into your father that she imagined in her head coming at her for a shared custody and child visitation in another country. OP replies, at the very least, she could have found out if I did turn out like him. She didn't even try. Yeah, and you could have gotten your shit together, checked in on her, and apologized for being an asshole when you were a kid and whatever part you may have played in her leaving the country and cutting you off. But you didn't. I'm not sure why you deserve more consideration and effort than what you gave her. Sounds like you haven't changed as much as you think you have. And now, on to the update. I figured that I'd post an update since I've met with my daughter, Inessa, and her mother, Sophia, again. I went to the city that Inessa lives in for a business trip, and she agreed to meet me. I went to Sophia's home and took the time to talk to Sophia while Inessa was changing. I did what most of you and my wife recommended, and I apologized to Sophia. I told her I was hurt, that I couldn't be there for her and Inessa, but that she did an incredible job, better than I would have been able to do before I got my life on track, and I admire how much stronger than me she is for doing it all, despite all she faced. This brought tears to her again, but thankfully, she hugged me and forgave me. She then apologized to me for not telling me when I was older, but told me it was that at first she was afraid of my father, and later on, she didn't want to disrupt my life. I told her it didn't matter, and all that matters is Inessa and her happiness. When I went to dinner with Inessa, I gave her an old photograph of my mother as a gift, and she thought it was some old-timey photo of herself at first, because they look so similar. I told her about my own terrible father, and why it hurt me so much that I didn't get to be there for her because I had this notion that it's a father's duty to always help his child, guide them, teach them, and love them, and they're a failure if they weren't. I told her I was sorry that I made her mother cry, but know now that she was a better mother and father to her than I could have been at that time. She also forgave me, and when she called me dad, she had just been saying father before that, which was still adorable because of her mix of a Russian and Scottish accent. For the first time as she hugged me, it was the best feeling in the world. Although I'd booked a hotel for the night, Inessa insisted I stay with her and Sophia. We wound up staying for hours watching old home movies of Inessa as a kid, which she converted into digital from tape somehow. And even though I couldn't be there for any of that, I do feel better about it. Before I left, I promised Inessa that I'd always be there for her, and if she ever needed anything, to just ask me, and I'd take a flight to see her that day. When I got home, my wife told me that I did the right thing in apologizing to the both of them, and that I should see her for Christmas, and that our kids would be fine without me for once. So, I thank you guys for recommending that I apologize. It feels like a weight has been lifted, and I can be there for Inessa without regrets. And now in the comments, a happy ending to a sad story. Do your other children want to meet their half-sister and connect with her? Does Inessa want to meet them? OP replies, Inessa has a fear of flying, particularly because she flew so much between Edinburgh and Moscow as a kid, and admitted that it was hard for her to move from Scotland to Vancouver because of it. So she's unfortunately not going to fly over Canada to Ontario anytime soon. Maybe sometime next year I'll bring my family out to Vancouver, since she has said she'd rather meet everyone in person than on the phone. I'll probably make a habit of visiting as often as I can though. You have a wonderful, caring, and comprehensive wife. Her level of empathy and understanding is way out of this forum's charts. OP says, I'm always worried that I'm not appreciating her efforts enough, and try my hardest to show her how much I love her. Last night, while I was waiting for this post to get approved, she was urging me to make an appointment with my lawyer to make sure Inessa gets a fair share in my will with our kids. She has never even met Inessa, but feels so much for her. Things like that make me feel incredibly lucky to have her, because she almost seems too good to be true. I'm so sorry the previous thread beat you over the head so badly into thinking that you were the asshole. This frickin' sub sometimes, man. Only one person is deserving of an apology, and it was you. You weren't an abuser, just a slightly troubled kid who had his child stolen from him. You keep on putting yourself down and saying you couldn't have done this or that. Who knows now? You were never given the chance. Heartbreaking. OP replies, I'd like to specify I don't think I was voted the asshole based on the circumstances, but how badly I handled my initial talk with my daughter's mother. I myself felt terrible about what I said to her after learning of my wife's pregnancy. Would I be lying if I said that it didn't irk me that I didn't get to raise Inessa? Yes, I would be, but she did apologize to me over that. All I can do is forgive and move on. It's not me who is important in this story anymore. And I'm totally glad she did. I don't think I saw it in the original post. I think you deserve to say your piece, and I'm sure she was upset as she could see the truth in it. It seems like you were both moving past it and doing what is best for your daughter, and that is the main thing. I know that trying to be a better parent than the ones you got is a major driving force for me, as it seems to be for you. All the best. And OP says, yeah, I guess people could tell from this post and the others, but my father was an abusive, negligent monster, and I've worked so hard to try and not be like him. So the idea that I had abandoned this daughter, I guess it made me feel like him. It hurt the most because, as I've said, she looks just like my mother, who meant more than anything to me as a kid. But she has given me a chance, and I think she understands that I still want to be a good father to her. Our next post is titled, Would I be the asshole if I told my mum that I don't want her boyfriend to come to my birthday? My aunt, my mum, and I all had tickets to see a live musical for my birthday in about a month. Something came up and my aunt can no longer go, so now we have an extra ticket. At first I thought I would just invite one of my best friends, who happens to be a big fan of the show that we're going to see, so while it would be nice to have my aunt come, at least it would be fun to have my friend there. I told my mum that I wanted to invite her, and she told me, but my boyfriend might want to go. Now, I don't particularly like her boyfriend, but it's mainly just due to different opinions and perspective on things, and he's not a person that I feel I can truly relax and be myself around. I know I personally would have a much better time if I can have my friend come, plus she's a huge fan of the show, and my mum's boyfriend is indifferent to it. She basically told me, I'll let you know ASAP if he wants to come, then you can invite your friend. I don't know though. It is my birthday. Is it entitled of me to think that because it's my birthday, I should be allowed to have who I want there? Her and my aunt paid for the tickets, so I feel like because of that, I don't get a say since I didn't pay. Would I be the arsehole if I told her I don't want her boyfriend there? I would much rather have my friend. And now in the comments, not the arsehole. At the end of the day, it's your birthday, and it sounds like you'd have a much better time having your friend there rather than her boyfriend. I really hope she understands, and good luck to ya. Not the asshole, so long as you frame it right. Don't make it personal, like, I don't like your boyfriend. Try something closer to, I would enjoy my birthday more spending it with you and friend, and if boyfriend came, I would feel like I was tagging along on your date. Not the asshole. It's your birthday show, and by your they bought it, they control it logic, technically that would make it your aunt's call on who gets the ticket, since she paid for her own and half of yours. Either way, tell it to her straight that you don't want to go with him. Reasons are your own and between the lot of you. And now on to the update. So I told my mum that I would really much prefer to have my friend instead of her boyfriend join us for the show that we're going to see. She basically said, but he wants to go. And I told her I understood, but since it is my birthday and the tickets were a gift, I felt that it was fair for me to bring my friend instead. She then tried to justify it by saying, well, he was planning to take you out to dinner after, which of course is something I'd appreciate, but it's not like the show is even on my actual birthday. It's the weekend before. I asked her, why can't the three of us go to a nice dinner on the weekend of my actual birthday? And she said that they were going to take me out to dinner again then too, which just seems like she's just saying things now. She then tried to make up for it by telling me to check and see if more tickets are available so my friend and I can go another time and she will pay for it. 1. What? 2. Tickets were already scarce when we got them a month ago. 3. I know my mum isn't made of money, so I wasn't comfortable with taking it. And 4, what? She also suggested we just see if there is an available ticket for the same show that we already have the tickets for, and she can sit by herself if it's far, and her boyfriend, my friend, and I would be together, which just feels weird. So yeah, I just said fine, I'll go see it with the two of them, because apparently asking my friend to come instead just makes everything super complicated. And at this point, it's clear I'm not going to win, so there's no use in arguing and potentially ruining the experience even more. Thank you to everyone who responded to the original post. I apologize for the lame outcome. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for wanting to move in with my dad? I am 15, I live with my mum, and I have posted about this before. I was very rude to my stepdad after my dad told me that he was retiring. I was really rude and I apologized a lot. My stepdad and I made up. My dad told me that he isn't going to move away and asked me if I want to move in with him. I really want to. I've never spent a lot of time with my dad and I want to. My stepmom is pretty cool too. I talked to my mum about it and she was really upset. She said dad had talked to her about it, but she didn't think that I would be willing to move. She said she wouldn't infight if I wanted to leave. She said I was not being a good sister by leaving my siblings. She said they will miss me, and I should think about how bad it would be for them to not have their sister living with them. I feel like a huge asshole because I want to leave, and I didn't even think about them when planning to move. It makes sense for me for a lot of reasons, but I don't want to hurt my siblings, and I feel like I will if I move. My mum is very upset with me. Now in the comments, not the asshole. What your mum is doing is manipulating you. She says she would be fine with you leaving, and then adds the things about your siblings to make you feel guilty. I'm going to guess you are the babysitter to your siblings and you don't get paid for it. Move in with your dad if that's what you want, and don't let her manipulate your decision. I was 10 when my brother moved across the country to go to college. He still managed to be a great sibling to me. My point is that proximity is not what makes somebody a good older sibling, and it's incredibly sketchy that your mum would try to emotionally manipulate you like that. Not the asshole. OP, after a big fight, I moved into my dad's, and I'm happy that I did. My relationship with my mum is better now. Granted, I was leaving an older brother, a niece, and my dog, while you leave siblings, but it's the same concept. You have a right to live with whoever you want, and it's not like you'll never see them again. Not the asshole, and frankly, if your mum refuses to let you leave, then she's the asshole here. The fights will stop, but maybe you need some time apart. And now, on to the update. Many people told me that my mum was manipulating me, and yeah, I didn't agree with them at all, but then my sister started to ask me when I was leaving and that she didn't want me to go. It was sad, but I think my mum put her up to it. I'm not sure, but I did talk to her, and she seems to get that I will be visiting a lot. My mum got mad at me a few times, and I don't know, my stepdad didn't seem to mind at all that I was going. Like, he did say that he'll be sad and all that, but yeah, I don't think he minds me leaving. I moved out about a week after I posted. Things are better here. Maybe it's selfish to say this, but I'm glad that I don't live with 2 tiny children anymore. Being a big sister is tiring. I can do stuff on my own here. Dad is stricter about timing and rules, but I don't mind because I do get to have fun and relax on my own when I am not studying. My free time would always be interrupted by my siblings and my parents would let me deal with them, but being the only child here is sweet. I think my dad also treats me with more respect. I don't know how to put it, but he lets me do my own things, and I don't have to keep everything kids appropriate because they could barge in at any time. My mum would get mad at me for watching TV shows in my room, which I couldn't watch with them because they would be in my room and they were always curious about watching things with me. And now in the comments, I'm so glad it's working well. I'm glad you get a chance to enjoy your childhood and youth and having the breathing space. Take care of yourself. Yeah, OP can enjoy their childhood without being a third parent to young children. Sounds like it was a good thing they got out of that house. I'm glad you were able to move out and see for yourself what it sounds like outside parties here on Reddit were able to see quite clearly. It sounds like your mom wanted to keep you there so she could keep parentifying you. Being a big sister is not supposed to be exhausting. It is not normal for you to not be able to consume age-appropriate media just because it's not toddler-appropriate. Good luck out there, OP, and I hope you continue to enjoy what it's like without having to deal with everything your mother puts you through. And I think that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. Look forward to a lot more content. If you like it, leave a like. If you dislike, leave a dislike, of course. Not like you can see the dislikes anyway, because they're just invisible these days. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.